Yes, sir.
So like that you need to do it. Okay. Can we, I think Vivekanand said that he'll join in 5 minutes time. Meanwhile, if you have any other queries, you can talk to me. Otherwise, we'll just go with the last 2 chapters of the Patent Act. Then we can do the question papers from the previous years. You have any
Sir,
specific
did you?
questions? Yeah, Rita, tell me.
No, same on drafting. Sir, I was trying to connect all the features, functional features, structural features. So, is it okay, or means I have to work on that further?
No, I think it is perfectly fine. Whatever you have drafted is good. I've gone through.
Okay.
Yeah. So what see additional limitations, Suryakala, if there are additional limitations are there, maybe you can get into the dependent claims. You can't everything you can't capture in the main claim. Main claim should be broad enough. But then if there are limitations to the invention, you make the main claim as very broader, and then that limitations you bring in the dependent claims.
Yes, sir. Yeah, today I got it, sir. How to see all things.
Yeah.
Sir,
have you attempted drafting anything?
Now I did it.
Okay. Deepika, have you started drafting?
Yes, sir. I have started, but I have not finished it, sir.
Okay. Both the inventions?
Yes, sir.
The hand law as well as light twist?
Yes.
Okay.
Sir, in when we are studying about the definition and interpretations in section 2, there is nothing defined as novelty, sir. So we can take novelty as invention?
New invention has been defined in section 2. If you see section 2L, I think.
Yes.
2L, where is L? New invention. You are able to see this definition here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Means any invention or technology which has not been anticipated by publication in any document or used in the country or elsewhere in the world before the date of filing of patent application with complete specification. That is, subject matter has not been fallen in public domain or that it does not form part of state of art. So this is where novelty has been defined. Okay? Yeah.
In novelty also, invention means new product or process involving an inventive step and capable of industrial application.
Invention definition also has new, means, see, invention means any new product or process involving inventive step and capable of industrial application. This is what section 2J talks about.
Yes, sir.
This is the definition of invention. This is not definition of novelty. Now, again, this definition, invention, involves inventive step word and capable of industrial application word. So to understand what is inventive step, again, you need to read JA. Okay. So invention encompasses JA. Section 2J includes inventive step, and inventive step is defined here.
Yes, sir.
Main feature of the invention that involves technical advancement as compared to the existing knowledge or having economic significance or both, and makes the invention not obvious to persons skilled in the art. Okay, that is JA. And then capable of industrial application is section 2AC here.
Yes, sir.
Relation to invention means the invention is being capable of being made and used in an industry. Right?
Yes, sir. So it should be L only, sir. Novelty is
Novelty is L. Novelty is L. Invention is 2J. Inventive step is 2JA. And industrial application is 2AC.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
When somebody asks you to pinpoint what is the provision to novelty, you can simply say that it is 2L.
Okay.
But the requirements of a patent, what is an invention, has been provided under 2J. Again, here it is new product or process. New product or process means novel product or process.
Okay.
New means novel, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Even Vivekanand has joined. Vivekanand, have you attempted the claim drafting?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Both the inventions, hand glove as well as life vest.
No, sir. Life was told.
How about hand glove?
Today I will do, sir.
Oh, anyways, we'll go with last two chapters. We have done patent agents last week. Now we are going to do with international arrangements. Let us first read section 133, which is convention countries. Convention country, any country which is signatory or party or a group of countries, union of territories or intergovernmental organization which are signatories or parties to an international, regional or bilateral treaty, convention or arrangement to which India is also signatory, a party to which offers to the applicants for the patents in India or to citizens of India similar privileges as are granted to their own citizens or citizens to their member countries in respect of the grant of patents and protection of patent rights shall be a convention country or convention countries for the purpose of this act. So what are the international treaties that India signed with regard to patents? Do you know how many agreements India has signed? Recently, we have signed one specific agreement with Japan. What is that? Rita.
Yes, sir.
What is the agreement we have signed with Japan?
Don't remember, sir.
Sir,
You made a presentation for that as well.
Oh, yeah.
sir, if the patent is granted in India, if you file the same in Japan, they will grant it without doing any examination.
What is that agreement called?
That I forgot, sir.
Name I forgot.
How can that be? Patent Prosecution Highway.
Yes. Sir.
Right. So like that, there are agreements signed by Indian government with other foreign countries. Those countries are called convention countries. The main agreement that we have signed in relation to patents is Paris Convention. Paris Convention is 1883 agreement, but India has signed in 1970s with the international community. And when we have signed that agreement, whatever the member countries of Paris Convention are doing with Indian citizens, the same thing we'll do with the foreign citizens in India. So it is reciprocal arrangements. That means you see, if you protect Indian citizen in your country, we protect. Suppose the agreement is signed in with USA. So if you protect Indian citizen in USA, I protect US citizen in India. That is what conventional arrangement that we have signed, and we are respecting the international agreements. And section 133 recognizes what is a convention country. Convention country is not only just a country, but also union of countries or intergovernmental organization like EPO, European Patent Office, or OAPI, or GCC countries arrangement. The such arrangement is also recognized as convention country. We are in process of making SAARC countries a union kind of a thing, but still till date it is not happened in the regime of patents. SAARC is there for some other purposes, but not for grant of patents or reciprocal arrangements in terms of granting or rejecting patents. So that is not what is for SAARC. But we are trying to establish a regional registration system wherein all Asian region, part of Asian region, the applicants can file a single application, automatically gets protection to all the members of the SAARC countries. So that is still we are trying to achieve. But section 133 recognizes what is convention country. If you sign an agreement with a foreign territory, foreign country, and that country recognizes Indian citizens for granting patent in their country. India also recognizes the other countries in granting patents. For example, US and Canada has a agreement wherein the patent agents in US can practice in Canadian Patent Office, and Canadian patent agents can practice before US Patent Office. Both of them can be possible. However, we don't have such kind of recognition. If an Indian patent agent, can Indian patent agent represent before US Patent Office?
No, sir.
No, sir.
So similarly, US patent agents cannot represent before Indian Patent Office. So that is a kind of thing which we have made. So if we sign an agreement with US government like Canada, then US people can practice in India and Indian people can practice in USA. So it's like that. So that is what is called conventions and signing of conventions. And once a convention is signed by Union Government of India, and then that we will become party to that agreement. Either it is international agreement or regional agreement or bilateral treaty like Japan and India has on PPH, right? Patent Prosecution Highway. The next, section 134, notification as to countries not providing for reciprocity. Where any country specified by central government in its behalf by notification in official gazette do not accord to citizen of India the same rights in respect of the grant of patents and protection of patent rights as it accorded to its own national, no national of such country shall entitle either solely or jointly with any other person to apply for. See, if somebody is not granting patents to Indian citizens, we will also not give protection to that country's citizens. So that it is kind of reciprocity. Like you provide assistance to Indians in your country, we provide assistance to your country people in India. So if somebody is not giving protection, then we'll notify. The notification will be given under section 134 that a specific country is not giving protection to Indians. As such, we will also not give protection to them. Either apply patent for either on their own or along with somebody else, we will not give. To register as assignee of the proprietor of the patent or to apply license or hold a license under the Patent Act, patent under this act. So even licenses and assignment is also not possible. Forget about application. Even after the grant of patent, if such countries, I think there are no countries notified under section 134, but if government notifies under section 134, those country people will not give any patent grants. 135, convention applications. Without prejudice to the provisions contained in section 6, where a person has made a application for patent in respect of an invention in a convention country, and that person or the legal representative or assignee of that person makes an application under this act for patent within 12 months after the date on which the basic application was made, the priority date of the claim of complete specification being the claim based on matter disclosed in the basic application is the date of making the basic is the date of making the basic application. So section 6 talks about persons who are entitled to file patent application. Who are entitled? Section 6 of the Patent Act. I think we have learned it 2 months back.
Assignee, sir. The first
True
who
and
has the
first inventor. True and first inventor or assignee of the true and first inventor, or
Legal
if the inventor is deceased,
Legal representative.
legal hire a legal representative of true and first inventor.
yes.
So these are the people who can file patent application. Apart from that, in case it is a convention application, that is, if it is filed in a home country, foreign country first, and then coming through convention route in India as a convention application, either the legal representative or assignee of the person who made the first application in the home country can file the application here. And when such claim is made, based on the disclosure in the basic application. Basic application is a foreign application, and that application date will be the date of application in India as well. Where application explanation has been given here, where applications have been made for similar protection in respect of inventions in 2 or more convention countries, the period of 12 months referred to in this subsection shall be reckoned from the date on which the earlier or earliest of the said applications was made. Suppose there are 2 or 3 applications from the convention countries. Say for example, you have filed one application in USA and another application in Australia, and you want to take priority of both of them in India. Can you do that? Yes or no? See, you have filed for mobile phone application in USA and camera application in Australia, and you want to club both of them, file application in India. Can you do that? Yes or no? One application in USA, one application in Australia, which are 2 distinct features: a mobile phone and a digital camera to the mobile phone in Australia. Mobile phone in USA, digital camera in Australia, and that too you want to combine and file application in India. Can you do that?
So, sir, it would be separate. Means we can't file on basis of these 2 because both are different, and the third one is also different.
What is multiple priority?
Sir, the first date when they made application, it will be considered as the priority date, and later on, just he is adding the features.
Correct.
So he'll get claim dates.
So Rita, it is not a completely different invention. Mobile phone and the camera is there in one single product only. It is not 2 different products. So initially he has filed a patent application in USA only for mobile phone. Later on he filed an application only for digital camera in Australia. And when it is coming to India, he want to have these 2 features into a single product and file application in India.
When he can file it
in India, the priority when he claims priority of these 2 applications, it should be filed within 12 months from the earliest application. Suppose he has filed in USA first application, from that application within 12 months. Even if the Australia application is filed after 6 months of the US application, the Australian application, if it standalone comes to India within 12 months, he can do it. But if you want to combine it with US mobile phone and make a combined application in India, the 12 months time frame starts from the US application because it is earlier application. That is what it is saying. Reckoned from the date on which the earliest of the said applications was made. So you can claim multiple priorities into your application. Even in India, when you file multiple provisional applications. Say for example, you filed one provisional application on 1st January 2020 for mobile phone, and on 1st May 2020 you have filed another provisional application for digital camera. Now you want to file a complete specification before 31st December, combining these 2. Can you do that? Yes or no?
Yes, we can do. Just
we can do it, sir.
Yeah. So, Rita, is it clear now to you?
Yes, sir.
So, there can be multiple provisional applications which can be combined as one complete specification. Likewise, there can be multiple priority applications. In US itself, I have given an example of 2 different countries. One application in US, one application in Australia. But in US itself, one application on 1st January 2020, one application on 1st May 2020. 2 applications have been filed in USA. Now, when it comes to India, you want to combine these 2 applications and file one single application in India. So that can be done. Okay. However, the date is 12 months from the earliest of the multiple priority applications. So it is not the latest application, it is the earliest application that will be counted for 12 months time frame. Is this clear? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
where applications for protection have been made in one or more convention countries in respect of two or more inventions which are cognate or which one is a modification of another, a single convention application may, subject to the provisions contained in section 10, be made in respect of those inventions at any time within 12 months from the date of the earliest of the said applications for the protection. This is what I was saying, right? So provided that the fee payable on making of any such application shall be the same if separate applications have been made in respect of each of the said inventions, and the requirements of clause B of subsection 1 of section 136 shall, in case of any of such application, apply separately to the applications for protection in respect of each of the said inventions. Though you are combining it, but the fee has to be paid separately is what they are saying. Provided the fee payable on making any such application shall be the same if separate applications have been made in respect of each of the said invention. And the requirements of clause B will see, 136 will see, 136 clause B 1 clause B says that there should be a separate fee for each of the said inventions. So that required to be paid. So you can't exempt the fee, but you can combine the inventions. However, the inventions should be in such that it should be cognate or of which one is modification of another. A single, unless this is, if there are completely two different inventions, like Rita said, if it is completely different inventions, you can't combine it into one single invention. Even if you combine it, the registrar or controller will ask you to divide them, right? Now,
Yes,
in case of application filed under PCT designating India and claiming priority from the previously filed application India, the provisions of subsection 1(2) shall apply if the previously filed application were the basic application, provided that request for examination under 11B shall be made only for one of the applications filed in India. Now, this is very interesting. What people do is, people file application application India first, and then they file PCT international application. So they'll come again, they'll file PCT national phase application in India. So there will be two applications, right? The basic application in India as well as PCT national phase application. So which the examination will be done only for one of the application, not both. You got the point? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes,
The
sir.
advantage is, if you file PCT national phase application, your filing, your term of protection starts from when? In case of PCT national phase application, the term of protection starts from when?
Date of
International
Date of
filing.
application.
International filing date.
Filing date.
The basic filing date. So
Yes, sir.
you can extend 1 year of term of protection in case you go through PCT route. If you continue with your basic application, then it is only 20 years. In case you continue with PCT national phase application, it is from the international filing date. International filing date, obviously, you would have made PCT international application after 1 year, within 1 year from the basic application, right? So that time frame you can buy when you file PCT national phase application, as well as you can also modify your specification. When PCT international search report has been given, you can modify the specification to make sure that you'll straight away get a grant. Whereas if you file basic application, you will not have this advantage of PCT international search report and all. So you can take advantage of PCT international search report, and you can get one year more time. All that you can include and get the PCT national phase application processed in India than your basic application. So either this or that, but not both. If you choose to process your basic application, PCT international application, you don't require to do it. If you choose to process PCT national phase application, then your basic application will be abandoned. Either one of the application will be abandoned or the other will be examined. Got the point, right? Yeah. So section 135 talks about convention applications. Convention applications include both under Paris Convention as well as PCT national case. Now 136, special provisions related to convention applications. Every convention application shall be accompanied by complete specification and specify the date on which the convention country in which the application for protection, or as the case may be, the first of such application was made, and state that no application for protection in respect of invention has been made in a convention country before that date by applicant or by any person from whom he derives title. So earliest priority date you need to mention along with the complete specification. If there are more applications filed, earliest date you need to give, and you also require to give a declaration that you have not filed this invention elsewhere in the world before that particular date. Then 136(1)(2), subject to the provisions contained in section 10, a complete specification filed with the convention application may include claims in respect of developments of or additions to the invention in respect of which the application for protection was made in a convention country, being developments or additions in respect of which the applicant would be entitled under the provisions of section 6 to make a separate application for patent. So it can also include the developments or improvements from the original application. Original application, whatever is made in a convention country, from that he can also file some improvements or developments when he is filing application in India. 136 clause 3, a convention application shall not be post-dated under subsection 1 of section 17 to a date later than the date which under the provisions of the act the application could have been made. So convention application can never be post-dated after filing in India. It has to be filed within 12 months, and once it is filed, that date will be accorded, and it can never be post-dated as per section 17.1. Section 17.1 is applicable only to the basic applications, not to the convention applications. 137, multiple priorities. This is what I was talking about, where 2 or more applications for patent in respect of inventions have been made in 1 or more convention countries, and those inventions are so related so as to constitute one invention. One application may be made by any or all of the persons referred in the subsection 1 of section 135 within 12 months from the date of which the earlier or earliest of those application was made in respect of the invention disclosed in the specification which is accompanied in the basic application. Now, situation is something like this. If I, as Vijay has filed application in USA and Australia, and Vijay want to file in India, that is well and good. However, an application is filed by Rita in USA, Deepika in Australia, and Vijay acquires these 2 rights. He signs Rita signs an agreement with Vijay, Deepika signs an agreement with Vijay, saying that they have assigned their rights in India to Vijay. And Vijay files an application in India claiming both the application as priority applications. Can that be done? Yes, that can be done. And Vijay can claim priority of both applications. So those are called multiple priority applications, either by the applicant himself in the convention countries or by a different person who claims to have that invention assigned to him. So those people can file within 12 months from the date of the earlier or earliest application, either Rita's application or Deepika's application, whosoever is earliest. From that date, it is 12 months. The priority date of a claim of a complete specification being a claim based on matter disclosed in 1 or more of the basic application is the date on which that matter was first so disclosed. So the priority date, as we discussed earlier also, priority date is the date of first disclosure, when you have disclosed first. If you have disclosed mobile phone in USA first, that is priority date. If you have disclosed a camera in Australia later, for camera related feature, the priority date is the date of application in Australia, not date of application in USA. Though there are multiple dates for claiming priority for taking up that applications, within 12 months, the earliest date we need to file. However, the priority date is when that matter was first so disclosed. Based on the disclosure, when you have first disclosed, that will be considered. Yeah, Sharath. Sharath or Vivekanand, who has query? No one? Okay. So priority and priority dates are two different things. For claiming priority, it's the earliest date where it has been filed. That is for claiming priority. For claiming priority date of a claim is when that matter was first disclosed. If it is disclosed after, suppose for example, you have filed a patent application in USA for mobile and Australia for camera. USA you filed on 1st January, and then Australia you filed on 1st June. Somebody else would have filed an application in India for camera related feature in 1st March. Should you give a priority over him, or your claim should be protected, or his claim should be protected? Got the point, right?
His claim. Yes, sir.
The other person's claim will be protected because your priority date is subsequent to his disclosure. So whoever first disclosed, he'll get a patent, not you, because just because you filed a first application in USA and you are claiming the first application priority in India, and within 12 months you have filed this application, complete specification, you will be not given priority over other person who has disclosed earlier than you. So the other person will be given patent for that particular claim, and you will be denied a patent for that particular claim. You might be given a claim for mobile phone, not for digital camera, which is the other person has filed in March. You have filed in May in Australia, but the other person has filed in March in India. So he will be given priority date than you. Then for the purpose of this act, matters shall be deemed to have been disclosed in basic application for protection in a convention country if it is claimed or disclosed other than by way of disclaimer or acknowledgement of a prior art in the application, or by documents submitted by applicant for protection in support of the same time as the application, but no account shall be taken of any disclosure affected by such document unless a copy of the document is filed at the patent office with the convention application, or with such period as may be prescribed after filing the application. So it is not just filing application, you also have an obligation to submit the priority document, certified priority document. These days governments have signed digital access agreements. India has signed an agreement with WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organization, for sharing the certified copies of Indian patents with WIPO and other countries when it is required. So earlier Indian Patent Office used to give certified copy of whatever specification you have disclosed. A red color ribbon used to be kept, and a official seal used to be, Government of India's official seal used to be kept and sent to the other country where you are claiming priority. But now it is a digital DAS code, Digital Access System, DAS, Digital Access System, DAS. Maybe in abbreviations or some one-word answers, they'll ask what is DAS. DAS means Digital Access System. So Digital Access System, they share the priority documents as if they have been certified from the government. So since it is coming from the government server, the other governments also recognize. In the similar fashion, either a certified copy or a DAS code has been supplied to Indian government. The claim what you made stating that you have filed an application in another country will not be entertained until you file this document. Again, if you write something and you don't particularly claim, or if you don't like, otherwise then by disclaimer or acknowledgement of prior art, if you disclaim something in your disclosure or acknowledge as a prior art, then that will not be considered as your claims. What is claimed by you will be looked into, not what is disclaimed by you or provided as an acknowledgement of prior art. Those things will not be considered as multiple priorities. Then section 138, supplementary provisions as to the convention applications. Where a convention application is made in accordance with the provisions of the chapter, the applicant shall furnish, when required by the controller, in addition to the complete specification, copies of the specification or other corresponding documents filed or deposited by the applicant in the patent office of the convention country referred under section 133, verified to the satisfaction of the controller within the prescribed time from the date of the communication by the controller. What is the prescribed time, ma? Anybody knows about what is the prescribed time? Within what the priority document need to be submitted once a patent application has been filed in India? I think it is 6 months time, but then verify it in the patent rules. It is 6 months within which you need to file the document. In case it is a foreign language, translation into English of the specification or document verified by affidavit or otherwise to the satisfaction of the controller shall be furnished when required by the controller. For the purpose of this act, the date on which the application was made in the convention country is such date as the controller is satisfied by certificate of official chief or head of the patent office of the convention country or otherwise is the date on which the application was made in the convention country. The international application filed under PCT designating India shall have effect of filing an application for patent under section 7, section 54 or section 135 as the case may be. The title, description, claim, abstract and drawing, if any, filed in the international application shall be taken as complete specification for the purpose of this act. So if it is a PCT international application, that PCT international application will be taken to whatever you filed in the international application will be taken into Indian specification when national phase application is designating India has been filed. The filing date of application for patent and its complete specification processed by the patent office as designated office shall be the international filing date accorded by the PCT. It is not the date of filing of earliest document. It is filing date is international filing date. This is one of the you have an advantage of 1 year in case you file a PCT national phase application. Amendment, if any, proposed by the applicant for international application designating India or designating or electing India before international searching authority or preliminary examination authority shall, if applicant so desire, be taken as amendment made before the patent office. So all amendments before international search authority or preliminary examination authority, if applicant desires to take those amendments into a national phase application, that will be considered and that will be taken. So these are the supplementary provisions which are applicable for convention applications as well as PCT national phase applications. Then section 139, other provisions of the act to apply to the convention of, save as provided in this chapter, all provisions of this act shall apply in relation to convention application and patent granted in pursuance thereof as they apply in relation to ordinary application or patent granted in pursuance thereof. So all other provisions of the Indian Patent Act will apply likewise for convention applications also. There is no special treatment. All section 2J, section 2JA, invention definition, everything will be the same and it will apply to convention applications also.
So divisional application, we can divide, sir, a patent of addition and all those things in PCT?
Yeah, the national phase application, yes, absolutely. So when you file a PCT national phase application, you can divide if it is a combined invention, if you feel that it can be divided into 2 different applications, you can file 2 different PCT national phase applications, or you can file 1 single PCT national phase application and then divide this after filing national phase application. You can divide the PCT national phase application into 2 divisional applications, or you can also file patent of addition. All that is possible after filing PCT national phase application or convention application.
And amendments, if you want to make some amendments, then
that is also allowed. That is also allowed. Everything is as simple as the Patent Act, Form 13, amendment rules. Everything will be applicable to convention applications and PCT national phase applications as if they are filed ordinary applications. So all the rules are applicable to the convention applications and PCT applications as well. Now the last chapter, that is miscellaneous chapter, avoidance of certain restrictive conditions. It shall not be lawful to insert in any contract for or in relation to sale or lease of a patented article or an article made by patented process, or in license to manufacture or use a patented article, or in license to work any process protected by patent a condition that effect of which may be. See, this is what we call patent misuse. In case you have a patent for phone, you have to give a license or sign a contract only for mobile phone. You should not say, I'll sell a mobile phone. This is a patented mobile phone. I'll sell this mobile phone only when you use Idea Cellular or only when you use Airtel. Airtel and Idea Cellular, you don't have a patent. You have a patent to mobile phone. So you can't have a contract or a license or any agreement which with restrictive conditions. Saying that I'll sell this mobile phone or I'll sell that patented product only when the purchaser does XYZ conditions. So that is not allowed. So what are those XYZ conditions have been mentioned here? To require the purchaser, lessee or licensee to acquire from the vendor, licensor or lessor or his nominee, or to prohibit him from acquiring or to restrict any manner or to any extent his right to acquire from any person, or to prohibit him from acquiring except from the vendor, licensor or licensor or his nominees any article other than the patented article or an article other than that made by the patented process. So what is patented to you, that you can license. What is not patented to you, you can't bundle up that with this agreement. The license agreement or a contract for license of patented process or patented article should be only for patented article, not anything else. If you add something else, then it is restrictive condition that you have imposed. To prohibit the purchaser, lessor or licensee from using or restrict in any manner or to any extent the right of the purchaser, lessee or licensee to use an article other than the patent article or an article other than that made by patented process which is not supplied by vendor, lessor or licensor or his nominee. Not only that, if you also stop him from using that technology other than what is patented to you, then it is also restrictive condition. To prohibit the purchaser, lessee or licensee from using or to restrict in any manner to any extent the right of the purchaser, lessee, lessee or licensee to use any process other than the patented process. To provide exclusive grant back, prevention to challenge the validity of patent, corrosive package licensing or any such condition shall be void. That means even if you write an agreement like that, such agreement is void. That means not void agreements means not enforceable agreements. Cancel. You can simply say that these agreements is not valid. Even if you sign that agreement, you can't enforce those agreements because they are void agreements. A condition of a nature referred to in clause A, B, C of the section 1 shall not cease to be the condition falling within the subsection merely by reason fact that the agreement containing it has been entered into separately, whether before or after the contract relating to sale, lease or license of the patent. Whether that condition is before signing the patented license or after the patented license, such condition is voidable, void agreement, and it can't be enforced, is what section clause 2 also say. In a proceedings against any person for infringement of patent, it shall be a defense to prove that the time of the infringement there was in force a contract relating to patent and containing a condition declared unlawful by this section. So in case of infringement and all, section 140 clause 1 can be shown as a defense. Patent misuse. You have misused the patent, that's the reason I'm infringing your patent, is what you can say. I have come to a license to you. You have given a license not only for the patented article, but several other things you bundle up. That's the reason I have not paid you license fee. I'm using it. And that is not an infringement, is what you can say. In case he has filed an infringement by the patent owner. Provided that this subsection shall not apply if the plaintiff is not party to the contract and proves to the satisfaction of the court that the restrictive condition was inserted in the contract without his knowledge and consent express or implied. So if the contract is not signed by the patentee or the plaintiff who files the infringement suit, then that will not be applied, is what clause 3 says. Nothing in this section shall affect condition in a contract by which a person is prohibited from selling goods other than those of particular person. Validate a contract which, but for this section would be invalid. Affect condition in a contract for a lease of or license to use a patented article by which the lessor or licensor reserves him to be himself his nominee the right to supply such new parts of the patented article as may be required to put or keep it in repair. So in case for repairing the article and all, yeah, in case for repairing the patented product, if you require supply consumables and all, that is not a restrictive condition. If it is a new, suppose you have a petrol, you have invented a supercar and ask him to get the petrol filled from your fuel pump, that is a restrictive condition. But if it is genuinely required, petrol is genuinely required, and nowhere else it is available, only from your place it is to be procured as regards to the invention, then it is not a restrictive condition. If it is available other places, but you are putting a restriction on him saying that you have to buy only from me, not from other places, then it is restrictive condition, and that restrictive condition will not be allowed. Is it clear?
Sir, what is this patent and coercive package licensing?
Coercive package, coercion, you know, right? Coercion means using force. You buy. See, I am interested in buying the supercar invented by you. But what you are saying is, I'll sell the car, but petrol tank lock I'll not give you. Every time you need to come to my petrol bunk and fill the petrol. That is coercive package. You are giving a car as well as petrol. You are selling petrol also. What is patented to you? Only the car, not the petrol, right? But what is that you are trying to do in light of selling car? Because I am interested in buying your car, patented car. What you are doing? You are coercing me to buy the petrol also from your place. Petrol is available elsewhere also. Everywhere in India, petrol is available. Why should I come to your petrol bunk?
Okay.
You got the point, right?
Yes, sir.
If there are 2 or 3 products you are combining, only one product you have patent, and you are forcing me to buy other 3 products in this fair price shops, ration dealers. You go, the ration dealer says that subsidized rate, the rice will be sold. Rice is 2 rupee per kg, right? So the ration dealer says that I'll give you the rice 2 rupees per kg, 10 kgs or 20 kgs, whatever you're eligible for. But for that, you need to buy a oil packet from me. So oil packet is not mandatory requirement, but he is coercing you. He is influencing you to buy an oil packet. Only when you buy oil packet, then he'll give the rice to you, subsidized rice. Otherwise, he'll not give. Is
Okay,
it
sir.
not coercive treatment?
Yes, sir.
So that is what is coercive package licensing. Coercive package licensing is not only patented product, but also other things which are not patented to you. You are trying to package it up and sell it to the person who independently may buy it. If he is willing, he can buy it from you, or independently he buys separately from others. But what you are saying, from others you should not buy, you should buy only from me. That is restrictive condition. So that restrictive condition is called patent misuse. So there might be a separate question in the patent agent examination on what is patent misuse. Then you need to narrate this entire section 140. Patent misuse or coercive packaging of patents with along with other products of the patentee. Then you need to write section 140 in detail. Then 141, determination of certain contracts. Any contract for sale or lease of patented article or for license to manufacture, use or work a patented article or process, or relating to any such sale, lease or license made any time after the patent or all the patents by which the article or process was protected at the time of making of the contract has or have ceased to be enforced, and nothing withstanding anything to the contrary in the contract or in any other contract be determined by the purchaser, lessee, or licensee, as the case may be, of the patent on giving 3 months notice in writing to the other party. I didn't understand. Any contract for sale was protected at the time of making, or and nothing withstanding anything to the contrary in the contract or in any other contract be determined by purchaser, lessee, or licensee, as the case may be, of the patent on giving 3 months notice in writing to the other party. The provisions of this section shall be without prejudice to any right of determining a contract exercisable apart from this section. So determination means working of this contract. So contract can be enforced, and nothing in that contract or any other law for time being enforced can make the licensee or purchaser or lessee bind with the contract. If he gives 3 months notice in writing to the other party, the patentee, saying that I don't want to continue with this contract, and if he says so, the determination of that contract will not be made against that purchaser or lessee or licensee. It is only with those people who are bound by the contract, and if somebody terminates even contrary to the contract can be terminated within 3 months. Even if the contract says that no, you can't terminate, but it can be terminated within 3 months in writing by the provisions of section 141. So a patent agreement can be terminated by the purchaser, licensee, or lessee by issuing a 3 months notice, even if the contract says that it can't be terminated. There's a lock-in period of 3 years or 5 years or 6 years. That lock-in period will not work based on section 141. He can cancel the contract within 3 months notice. Then 142 fees. They shall be paid in respect of grant of patents and applications therefore, and in respect of other matters in relation to grant of patents under this act, such fees as may be prescribed by the central government. So for grant of a patent, for making patent application, for anything, there is a fee, and that fee need to be paid to the central government as prescribed by the central government. Where a fee is payable in respect of a doing of an act by the controller shall not do the act until the fee has been actually paid. If the fee is not paid, that act cannot be done. Suppose examination of the patent need to be made only when request for examination has been made along with the fee. If the fee is not paid, only request has been filed, the controller is not bound to examine your application. Where fee is payable in respect of a filing of a document at the patent office, the fee shall be paid along with the document or within the prescribed time, and document shall be deemed not have been filed at the office if the fee is not paid within such time. So if the fee is not paid, even if you filed a document, the document will not be considered as filed. Where a principal patent is granted later than 2 years from the date of filing of the application, the fee which have become due in the meantime may be paid within the term of 3 months from the date of recording the patent in the register, or within the extended period not later than 9 months from the date of recording. So once a patent is granted, the patent grant fee or renewal fee required to be paid within 3 months from the date of the grant, or you can file a request for extension up to 6 months. Overall 9 months, 3 months plus 6 months. Within 9 months, you need to pay the fees. If you don't pay the fees, patent will be revoked. Then 143, restriction upon publication of specifications subject to chapter 7. What is chapter 7? Secrecy directions. An application for patent and any specification filed in pursuance thereof shall not, except with the consent of the applicant, be published by the controller before the expiration of the period prescribed under subsection 1 of section 11A, or before the same is open to public inspection in pursuance of subsection 3 of 11A or section 43. Normally, a patent application will be published after 18 months. If before it required to be published, then either the applicant has to make a request for early publication, or it has to be intimated to the applicant by the controller and then published. And then only when it is published, it is open for inspection to public, and public can see what you have filed. Reports of examiners to be kept confidential. The reports of examiners to the controller under this act shall not be open to public inspection or be published by the controller, and such reports shall be liable to be production or inspection in the legal proceedings unless the court certifies that the production or inspection is desirable in the interest of justice and ought to be followed. So all reports that are communicated by the examiners to the controller to the applicant, yes, they'll be made public, but examiners to controller, any report that will be kept confidential. For example, opposition notices, patent opposition notices, there will be a committee set up, and that committee will report it to the controller on the status of opposition, whether opposition is maintainable or not. That will be communicated to the controller. So that report you can't ask as a RTA application or something like that. It will be kept confidential. Reports of the examiner to be kept confidential under section 144. Then 145, publication of official journal. The controller shall publish periodically an official journal which shall contain such information as may be prescribed, as may be required to be published by or under the provisions of this act or any rule made thereunder. All publications, not only patent applications which have expired 18 months or early publications or grant details or any other publication has to be made under 145. There is what is called Patent Office Official Journal. Every Friday, this official journal published in India, and that journal, all information, all publications required to be done by the controller will be done in that journal. 146, power of controller to call for information from patentees. This is working of patents. You know, right? Form 27. Form 27 required to be filed every year on 31st March. However, if the controller feels that it has to be information required to be collected, he may demand for such information, and when controller demands the information, that information need to be provided. If section 146 is not complied, there is a penal provision. What is that? Do you remember? Section 120 onwards. Just check if the information is not furnished, then there is a penal provision related to section 146. Power of controller to call for information for patentees. The controller may at any time during the continuance of the patent by notice in writing require the patentee or licensee, exclusive licensee or otherwise to furnish to him within 2 months from the date of such notice, within such further time as the controller may allow, such information as such periodical statement as to the extent which the patented invention has commercially worked in India, as the case may be specified in the notice. Without prejudice to the provisions of subsection 1, every patentee and every licensee, whether exclusive or otherwise, shall furnish in such manner and form at such intervals not less than 6 months, as the case may be, prescribed statements as to the extent which the patented invention has been worked on a commercial scale in India. Not only under one when it is requested, or and regular intervals, that is not being less than 6 months. Every 6 months you need to file the working of the patent. The controller may publish the information received by him under subsection 1 or subsection 2 in such manner as may be prescribed. So once that information is collected, that will be published. So there is no proper format has been made. Actually, controller is expected to make a format wherein he can provide the commercialization details of every patent, but that is not happening. Maybe we can have a separate register to have commercialization information. Then section 147, evidence of entries and documents, etc. A certificate purporting to be signed by the controller as to the any entry, matter or thing which is authorized by this act or any rules made thereunder to make or to do shall be prima facie evidence of entry having been made of the contents thereof and of the matter or the things having been done or omitted to be done. See, whatever information from patent office need to be taken, that need to be taken as a certified copy signed by the controller. A copy of entry in register or any document kept in the patent office or any patent or extract from any such register or document purporting to be certified by controller and sealed with the seal of the patent office shall be admitted in evidence in all courts and in all proceedings without further proof of production of original. So even the document what is certified and given, true copy. So that copy will be taken, provided the controller has signed and sealed by it. Patent office sealed it. The controller or any other officer of the patent office shall not, in any legal proceeding to which he is not party, be compelled to produce the register or any other document in his custody, the contents of which can be proved by the production of certified copy issued under this act, or appears as a witness to prove the matter therein recorded, unless by order of the court made for a special causes. So you can't call controller for every proceedings. A certified copy given by controller is good enough. However, if you made a controller party, then you can call him and ask him to depose the evidence. But generally, controller will not be made a party. For records, they obtain a certified copy from controller, and that document will be admissible in evidence. 145, declaration by infant, lunatics, etc. If any person is by reason of minority or lunacy or other disability incapable of making any statement or doing anything required or permitted by or under this act, the lawful guardian, committee or manager, if any, of the person subject to the disability, or if there be none, any person appointed by the court possessing jurisdiction in respect of his property may make such statement or statement as nearly corresponding thereto as circumstances permit, and do such things the name and on behalf of the person subject to the disability. So we have discussed that can minors be an inventors? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
When minor is inventor, declaration of inventorship signed by minor, is it valid?
No.
No, sir.
So who should sign on behalf of minor?
Guardians.
Lawful guardian, committee or manager. So these people required to sign, either minor or lunatic or a disabled person who can't make the declarations by themselves. Those declarations has to be given by those people. An appointment may be made by the court for the purpose of this section upon the petition of any person acting on behalf of the person subject to the disability of any other person interested in making of the statement or doing of the thing. So subject, say if some petition has been filed, the court required to appoint a person to do this declarations. One second, ma. Yeah. Yes, sir, tell me.
हेलो
Yeah.
सर स्पीकर साहब डॉक्यूमेंट देने के लिए कहाँ पर आना सर?
कहाँ है अभी आप?
मैं अभी गाजूनगर में हूँ.
अभी 2 मिनट में मैं कॉल करता हूँ आपको. Any notice required or authorized to be given under this act, or any application or document or authorized or required to be made or filed may be given, made or filed by post. Service of notice, etc. are to be made by post. Earlier, they used to accept couriers and all, but now they are accepting only postal department only recognized. Couriers are not. Even if you send some documents by courier, they'll not admit them. Right? So it is all post you need to send as per section 149. 150, security for cause. If any party by whom notice of an opposition is given under this act, or by whom application is made to the controller for grant of a license under the patent, neither resides nor carries on business in India, the controller may require him to give security for the cost of the proceedings, and in default of such security being given, may treat the opposition or application as abandoned. So in case a foreign applicant or somebody who is not residing in India files the opposition or application, for them they need to file security of costs when the controller demands it. So when security of costs have been paid, if they default in appearing to the proceedings, that cost will be taken by the controller. Default in sense they won't appear to that proceedings. Opposition is filed, but when called for opposition proceedings, hearings, they will not come. So at that position, the amount will be taken by the government. Security will be taken. Transmission of orders of the courts to the controller. Every order of the High Court or the appellate board on petition for revocation, including orders granting certificate of validity of any claim, shall be transmitted by the High Court or appellate board to the controller, who shall cause an entry thereof and reference there to be made in the register. Whenever an order has been passed by the High Court or IPAB, that orders will be communicated by the such High Court or IPAB, and then once that order is communicated, that entry will be made by the controller. Wherein any suit for infringement of a patent or in any suit under section 106, the validity of a claim of a specification is contested and the claim is found by the court to be valid or not valid, as the case may be, the court shall transmit a copy of judgment and decree to the controller, who shall on receipt thereof cause the entry in relation to such proceeding to be made in the prescribed manner in a supplemental record. So when a decree or order has been made, that will be recorded in the registry, is what 151(2) talks about. The provisions of section 1(2) shall apply to the courts to which appeals are preferred against decisions of appellate board or the courts, as the case may be, referred to in those subsections. Not only high courts, but also from district courts to appellate board or appellate board to high courts, if appeals have been taken, and that entry is also required to be recorded by the controller. Section 153, information relating to patents. A person making request to controller in prescribed manner for information relating to any such matter as may be prescribed as respect of any patent specified in request or as respects of any application for grant so specified shall be entitled, subject to the payment of prescribed fee, have information supplied to him accordingly. However, only published patents will be given, not unpublished patents or things which are required to be kept secret. Those informations will not be given. Only published patent applications will be shared. Apart from this 153 section is in addition to Right to Information Act. Right to Information Act is there to get any information from the controller. Apart from Right to Information Act, there is another provision under section 153. You can also ask for documents. Then section 154, loss or destruction of patents. If a patent is lost or destroyed or its non-protection is accounted for to the satisfaction of controller, the controller may at any time on application made in a prescribed manner and on payment of prescribed fee cause a duplicate thereof to be sealed and delivered to the applicant. Earlier, you have hard copies of patent certificates. These days, it is only soft copy. How many copies you want, you can make it. But earlier, it was only one copy. So when that copy is lost, people used to apply for duplicate copies, and for filing duplicate copies, section 154 allows for the same. 155, report of controller to be placed before Parliament. The central government shall cause to be placed before the House of Parliament once a year report respecting to the execution of the Act by or under the controller. So every year annual report will be made under section 155, and that annual report will be placed before the Parliament of working of this Patent Act in the country. 156, patents to be binded by government. Subject to other provisions contained in the Act, patents shall have all intents the like effect as against the government as it is against any other person. So section 100 is not an exemption. Government can't say that because I'm government, I'm going to copy everything. Government is also liable for infringement and infringement actions. However, section 100 has to be invoked. When section 100 is invoked, 103 talks about soletum to be paid, that will be decided by the High Court. So 100 is a special provision that will not exempt the government, but aid to the government in procuring the patented technologies. Otherwise, patents are applicable to government entities also, government organizations and government entities also equally liable for patent infringements. 157, right of government to sell or use forfeited articles. Nothing in this act shall affect the power of government or any other person deriving title directly or indirectly from government to sell or use any article forfeited under any law for time being in force. So under Patent Act, if a raid is done and material has been seized, and that seized material, if they want to sell and government can sell that forfeited articles, is what section 157 says. 157A, protection of security of India. Notwithstanding anything contained in this act, the central government shall not disclose any information relating to any patentable invention or any application relating to grant of a patent under this act, which is considered prejudicial to the interests of security of India. Take any action, including the revocation of patent, which is considered necessary in the interest of security of India by issue of notification of official gazette to that effect. For example, there is a COVID vaccine that has been invented, filed a patent application. But if India is the COVID cases are increasing, and government of India feels that for security of India, for maintaining security in India, that patent need to be revoked, they can revoke it. For the purpose of this section, the expression security includes any action necessary for security of India which relates to feasible materials or materials for which they are derived, or relates to traffic in arms, ammunition, implement of war, and to such traffic in other goods and materials as is carried on directly or indirectly for the purpose of supplying to military establishment or to take in time of war or other emergency in international relations. Suppose you have a patent to a gun, and government want to take over that patent, they can do that, or they can cancel your patent and use it only for their purpose. 158, power of High Court to make rules. The High Court may make rules consistent with this act to the conduct of procedure in respect of proceedings before it under this act. So if they want to make rules of patent law, High Court can make rules for the state only. Every state has a separate High Court. The High Court will make rules that applies only to that particular state. 159, power of central government to make rules. So under 159 only, patent rules have been made. Central government may, by notification of official gazette, make rules for carrying out the purpose of this act. Without prejudice to generality of foregoing power, the central government may make rules to provide for all or any of the following matters, namely so and so, so and so, so and so. There are several matters that have been made in this section. The government has authorized executive to make rules. Executives are bureaucrats. The IAS and IPS, like the IAS officers who are in charge of implementing this law, they'll prepare the rules to implement this law. Any rule which is contrary to the section is a void rule. So the rules need to be in accordance with the sections. If the rule is above the section, then the section will prevail, not the rule. You know about it, right? So section 159 allows them to make the rules. 160, rules to be placed before parliament. Once the rules are made, that rules need to be placed before the parliament, and parliament need to give a consent in both the houses. Repeal of Act 2 of 1911 insofar as it relates to patents and savings. So 1911 Act has been repealed by section 162. And then the mention of General Clauses Act 1897 also been repealed. So these are the overall sections. Section 163 is also repealed. Now section 163 is also not there. (163), 161 is omitted, 163 is omitted. Okay, so with this we'll conclude the Patent Act. What we'll do is we'll start reading previous year papers, and where necessary we'll read patent rules also, and then we'll conclude this training program. Any questions you have?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.